every single waking moment of my life that I could, I devoted to studying Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And I realized I came to it from a philosophical and psychological lens, and it stuck because I realized that for most of our lives with fiat, it's essentially been we're trying to like plant fruit trees in sand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh, that's
And
good.
and I realized that this is going to be new soil for the future.
Mhm.
And this is going to be proper soil in which we can actually grow the fruit tree. And that's how I kind of started to realize like this is way cooler than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And so I really approached it from the philosophical and psychological lens. And that was really how I got to where I am now, to where I'm fully understanding of what it is and doing whatever I can to understand it now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Moon with the Lunas podcast. Today is February 1st, and we're currently sitting at in the Bitcoin price 74,600. But today, more important, I think, but that we have Thaddeus on the show today, founder of a Regal
Regal Change.
Change. Thank you. Words. Where he primarily focuses on revolutionizing psychology and spirituality. And for the last few years, he's been helping people switch from being on a timeline that costs spiritual tax to a high value timeline that builds them a godlike mindset. And we are just so excited that you're here. So thank you so much, Thaddeus, for being here.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. We are so excited to hear your mindset, and just I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that mindset shift that either happened within yourself that now has kind of carried over to helping other people kind of find that too. So just to dive in a little bit more about you, just to tell us where you're from and a little bit of your either Bitcoin journey or just your journey just spiritually and even into that Bitcoin mindset.
Yeah. So I first learned about Bitcoin when I was in college, and I was introduced to it through one of my computer engineer roommates, and he was mining Bitcoin. Like he had a software programmer, he was mining Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And he thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I didn't get it at all. I had no idea what he was talking about. He was like, "Oh, you can just, it's you're mining the Bitcoin." And I'm like, "I don't know what these words mean."
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what Bitcoin is. And so that was how I was introduced to Bitcoin. And I never really took it seriously up until about 2022, 2023. And I started to get some more Bitcoin, and I accumulated probably like $1,000 worth when it was at like 16,000.
Oh, nice.
And then I sold it all like a fool. Because I was like, I don't even know what this is. I don't even know. Like I was financially fairly financially illiterate for most of
hmm
my life.
Mhm.
And even when I got into the 2022 Bitcoin era, I was like, okay, I still don't know exactly what this is. Maybe it's not a good thing to invest in something I don't fully understand.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's why I opted out. And then some things happened, and I made like five figures in crypto in like just a few weeks
Yeah.
last year. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just go all in on crypto
Yeah.
then." And then I lost the five figures, and I was like, "You know what? It's really time to start analyzing what the heck this is." And
Nice.
so I started to really analyze and do a lot of research. I did probably 3 to 4 hours of research a day. Every single waking moment of my life that I could, I devoted to studying Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And I realized I came to it from a philosophical and psychological lens, and it stuck because I realized that for most of our lives with fiat, it's essentially been we're trying to like plant fruit trees in sand.
Yeah.
hmm
Ooh, that's
And
good.
That's really good.
and I realized that this is going to be new soil for the future.
Mhm.
And this is going to be proper soil in which we can actually grow the fruit tree. And that's how I kind of started to realize like, oh, this is way cooler than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Um, and so I really approached it from the philosophical and psychological lens. And that was really how I got to where I am now, to where I'm fully understanding of what it is and doing whatever I can to understand it now.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
That's amazing. I love that you were able to humble yourself a little bit too there because you were thinking, oh man, like I don't know what I'm doing, you know. I that's how I feel. Like so I started Anthony you know, obviously dove into Bitcoin and I'm over here going, yeah, that sounds great. You know, my brain couldn't even really process what was he was talking about and
yeah.
he would just word vomit on me on all of this
She
all of
was
the
she was like, "Sand can we can grow fruit trees in the sand." I'm like, "No, we cannot grow
yeah.
fruit trees in the
I was
sand."
like, this is like, I don't know what you're saying right now, you know? So, that's it's true. Once you start realizing what it can do, it gives you a different viewpoint for
Mhm,
sure. And it
mhm.
helps you understand it a lot better. And kudos to you for diving in like 3 to 4 hours a day of being
Yeah.
able to like understand it better. Cause it's true. And that's one of the reasons why we kind of started this podcast
Mhm,
was because we were having these conversations
mhm.
where I was asking probably dumb questions, right, about Bitcoin and trying to understand it better. And I went, there has to be other people that don't understand this. And obviously there are, you know,
Yeah.
but when you're around a Bitcoiner or someone who really understands it, you kind of feel like a dummy. And so I wanted to understand it better. And that's, you know, kind
Yeah.
of cool to hear your perspective on that too and
Yeah.
how it
I
changed.
wanna give you a little bit more grace, like, I wouldn't say that you're, like, a dummy, like, if you're, like, as far as learning it, because that Thaddeus said is that basically, like, when you learn it, like, we don't know what it is in the beginning,
Yeah.
and, like, 2 things that what I've noticed with all Bitcoiners, Thaddeus, is that, number 1, like, we hear it and we kinda like, "Oh, okay," we maybe dabble in it, and then the other one is like, "Oh, well, like, I was financially illiterate." Like, now I realize, like, I think everyone's financially illiterate until you learn
Yeah.
Bitcoin. It just teaches you so much,
Yeah.
in every realm it covers, you know, health, diet, fitness, government, the printer, inflation and interest rates, like all of this, it just stems into every part of our lives. And
Mhm.
so I think when in the very beginning, it could be overwhelming for someone just getting into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Until you take that deep dive,
Mhm.
then you're like, wow, you're
Yeah.
just going down this rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
And so
I was gonna piggyback off of what Anthony was saying. It sounds like based on like some of the videos I've seen of yours, you have some spiritual aspects, the physical fitness aspects. I feel like Bitcoin does, especially the people in the community of Bitcoin, I feel like have just this mindset of, you know, developing themselves, becoming their best selves. And it sounds like you probably want to encourage that. And based on your videos, you've kind of shared some really insightful things. Do you want to kind of share a little bit about why you started sharing videos, why your platform on YouTube was so important to you?
Yeah, I mean, really, it was all about. I had a very significant spiritual experience, and uh, I always considered myself spiritual to some degree, but I was very atheist for quite a while.
okay,
Mm,
And it wasn't until I was 21 and I'm 29 now
uh-huh,
where I had a very significant dream where I had this dream where I saw bubbles in time, and these bubbles in time I could peer into them and I could live a life in each bubble. And I just woke up and I had a very I don't know how else to say it other than a very stark experience and a confrontation with I didn't know what else to call it other than God at that point.
mm-hmm,
And then it wasn't until uh January of 2021,
mm-hmm,
which was when I was just about 25, where I had an experience where I had walked away from someone in that I thought was gonna be my wife at the
mm-hmm,
time, and
mm-hmm,
she demonstrated certain behaviors, and I was like, "Well, I cannot, uh, like, your insistence on superiority in this relationships cancels my willingness to want to even participate."
mm-hmm,
right.
mm-hmm,
And so I left, the relationship, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But
Mm.
uh, that night, I just fell to my knees, and I literally felt as if I had all of the pain and the joy of my ancestors spring into my body, and I literally felt the light of Christ breathe life into me. And
Wow.
for like 2 weeks, I just felt high as a kite, just walking around, just blissed out on life.
Yeah.
And after that experience, because I used to be very fat as well, I was like 200 pounds, and I'm 5'6".
Wow.
And so, like, I'm about 155.
Let's
And
go.
That's amazing.
Dude, let's go.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean, really, it's like a baseline for me now. It's like being healthy is just it just should be something that
Yeah.
everybody
Right.
ought to be. Which is one of the reasons I like the Bitcoin community. Is one thing that I've seen with Bitcoin is that everybody has high traits of openness. They're industrious. They're conscientious, but they're not forceful in their conscientiousness,
Mhm.
and they know how to empathize without
Yes.
overstepping all the time.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
Mhm.
sometimes we can, like, we people who have empathy and are close to God, sometimes we can try to help people at the cost of our own selves,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that's something that um, I wanted to help people with. I wanted to help the people that actually wanted to have this godlike mindset, have
Yeah.
the mindset. But I didn't want to do YouTube videos. I really didn't. Uh, I didn't want to put my face in the public, and yet
Yeah.
I kept having all of these random people on the just out and about in my community. They'd say, "Hey, you're the guy with the YouTube channel, right?" And I was like, "No, no, I'm not. No, I'm not." And it kept happening for months, and then
Yeah.
finally I was like, "Okay, God, like, is this really something you want to do?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I call them pattern convergence signals. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the term synchronicity at all. Have you heard about
No,
Mm-mm.
mm-mm.
it's
Share.
bas it's basically like a meaningful
No.
No.
coincidence. So for example, like, I even had one very recently where I had a dream that my inner child was like Superman, and there were all these shadows and flames around him that were trying to like consume him. And
Mhm.
I was able to protect myself, like my inner child. And then literally the
Mhm.
next day at the gym, I was playing racquetball, and I turned around, and sure enough, there was a child holding his mom's hand wearing a Superman costume. And so for me, that was a meaningful coincidence, right?
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
Okay.
that I think about it is where timelines start to collide, where there seemingly aren't actual uh,
Yes.
constraints there.
Right.
Mhm.
So with the videos and such, I realize that people need this type of information. There's a God shaped hole in society, and I'm not saying I'm going to fill it,
Mhm.
but with Bitcoin, I found, oh, we can get people closer to God through Bitcoin,
Mm.
Mhm.
because Bitcoin operates in a place of timelessness.
Mhm.
And the way that I see it is that God himself is timelessness,
Yeah.
Yes.
because he is the reason for the patterns in reality.
Mhm.
He's not the pattern, he is the reason for it. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
therefore, he's the reason there's any patterns and timeless things at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I realized that, I was like, that was why I started to study Bitcoin so hard, was
Yeah.
because I was I was I was obsessed with learning more about it and how we could get people closer to God through Bitcoin. Because
Mm.
So good.
fiat is, if you owe me money, I'm worth something now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
nuts.
it's
But yeah, that
dude,
was
that's so good. And then just to like kind of connect the dots a little bit too. So have you ever read that book, Thank God for Bitcoin?
I've heard of it, but I have not read it yet.
It's a really good book. So it's it almost just ties like Bible verses into Bitcoin and like how Bitcoin works. Almost a little bit like how you just kind of how timelessness is God and then how Bitcoin's timelessness. kind of like the same thing with different verses on how Bitcoin operates.
Yeah.
It's a really good book that I highly recommend. It's called Thank God for Bitcoin. And you know what's so funny is, so I didn't know what it was called, but what you shared, what was the word one more time where it kind of connects?
The
Oh,
patterns.
What's pattern?
well, the word is synchronicity. I call it a pattern convergent signal.
Okay,
Okay.
pattern conversion signal. So there's where also it's even like when you buy a new car. So like yours is deeper level. Yours is on a whole nother
Yeah.
level with God, right? But also it's like, let's just say if somebody wants to like, oh man, I'm really thinking about buying a new car. And you go and see this car that you test drive, and it's like a Tesla, right? And so now what's crazy is that you will always see Teslas
Yes.
on
Yeah.
the road, right? And you're just like, because you're thinking
Yeah.
about it, you just sat in one and you didn't make the purchase at the time, but it's still on your mind and you're like, man, I really want a new car. So now all you're thinking about is Teslas, and you're just seeing that car everywhere. It's
Mhm.
kind of like, it is kind of weird, but what you're talking about, I think it's on the same wavelength, but yours is like higher level, like, with God and,
Yeah. That's like the Holy Spirit, like
yeah.
within you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like very cool to hear that, because I love hearing stories how God is implementing himself in our lives
Mm-hmm.
without us, like, really, like you said, like it's just these weird
Mm-hmm.
moments that you're going, this cannot be coincidental. Like, this is a total
Yeah.
God thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this
Mhm.
this this has to be him. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way this could. And for
Yeah.
you to be able to accept that nudge, right? Of just being, I mean, you were atheist, from being totally non-believing, and then all of a sudden you go through this really hard time. And unfortunately, you had to go through that, but it was that moment that, like, God's Holy Spirit just filled you and just
Mm-hmm.
brought you to your knees, and you were just like, holy cow, like,
Mm-hmm.
I am alive right now. Like, this is wild. I can't even imagine that feeling,
Yeah.
Thaddeus. I am j- like, I'm kind of envious that you had that experience,
Yeah.
because it must have been such a
Mhm.
powerful moment. It almost, like, makes me emotional, because you didn't even have him in your life at one point,
Mm.
and he was still willing to come find you.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
He's like, "I'll meet you. I'll meet you, Thaddeus, when you're ready."
Yes.
And it's cool with Bitcoin, like whenever we're chatting with people and like trying to orange pill people or trying to spread the word, trying to help people, right? They don't understand what we're trying to do. But I always think it as like Jesus, right? When he was walking in the hills, walking in the valleys, and he's just like just doing his thing and spreading the word. And then people were like, "Hey man, you gotta follow this guy Jesus. Like that's him, that's Jesus Christ right there." That's what they're like, that's the Son of God. And it's like they're like, "Yeah," and then that guy's probably like, "Nah, man, like, out of all like, he's walking right there down by the
Right.
river, like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about?" But what's cool is that Jesus is like, "Hey, you could follow me or you cannot," right? Like, and
It's your
he's
choice.
not like he's not gonna be like, "Hey, you need to follow me, like, I'm the Son of God."
Mm.
Like, he's just like he'll just meet you wherever you're at, even if it's right then or if it's later. Like, that's what's so great. Like, he's always there to and willing to meet us wherever we're at, right? And
Yeah.
whatever we're wrestling with is like, okay, go ahead and wrestle, waste your time, your energy, but I'll be ready when you're ready, you know?
Do
Yeah.
you feel that that moment was a time where, I mean, I know you kind of mentioned it, you started really researching, but was there this significant point where you thought, oh, I need to actually share this with everybody? Like, I feel like compelled, and
Mhm.
it's God's tug for me to really start sharing more with people, like, about my spirituality and Bitcoin and all of that.
Yeah, well, it's really about living the truth and letting die what is false for me.
Mm.
Mhm.
I don't care what the truth is. I
Mhm.
just want the truth. And that's something that makes me uncontrollable.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons I like Bitcoin is
Yeah.
because is because it kind of makes us uncontrollable a little bit more. I'm
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of sovereignty. Uh
Yes.
I never really looked down on authority growing up. I just thought people were authoritative for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
And it was always very forceful. Uh,
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons I was atheist for so long was because I met so many people uh, in Christianity as a whole and in Muslim, like all these different religions. They're like, well, you have to believe or else. It's like, or else what? I mean,
Yeah.
I like I don't know what you're. It seems to me like you're trying to force me onto your timeline so that you don't feel like your identity is for nothing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it feels like. And I still feel that way for a lot of people, but fortunately, it's gotten to a point to where my confidence comes from my relationship to God. And
Mhm.
so I don't know. Well, so how about you guys though? Like, how have you guys been following Christ your whole lives then?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
this is great. Go ahead.
yeah, I actually grew up in the Catholic faith like my whole life. So I went to Catholic school. I was in a private school my whole life. So that developed the foundation. I will say I didn't develop my relationship though with Christ until we actually started going to church together when he moved over here. So we started going to church together, and that's when I started really understanding the Bible more and developing that relationship and knowing that he wasn't this big scary God that was always judging me and feeling like I am a sinner, but
Mm.
he still wants me near him. He doesn't want me to feel shame or any of those things. He just wants me to come to him in those moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't develop that relationship probably, gosh, how long have we been going to our church,
It's
like
probably
in
like
total?
2012.
Yeah. So a while. So
Oh, wow.
we've been really like that was a time, but my whole life to be in the church, right? And I didn't really have that feeling of relationship.
Mm.
I will say it helped me build foundation. I feel like it brought down the morals, the values of, my faith, and I'm grateful for that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt a huge shift when I developed my relationship, and we
Yeah.
started really diving into who God really is, who is Jesus in my life, who is He as a person, and
Mm-hmm.
just all of the even historically and spiritually as well. So that's kind of my walk with my faith.
Yeah,
Did
for
you?
me, it was I was raised by a single mom, and me and my sister, and we never really went to church. But in high school and stuff, all my friends would talk about going to church, and then I just was like, again, I love like common sense, right? So I would be like walking around town, or I'd be driving around with my friends or with my mom, and there's a church at every corner. There's like a church everywhere, and I'm like, man, like there's this person, Jesus is like he's somebody, like maybe I should kind of dive into this, right? He's like at every corner. And so then I was like I would walk on the weekends to by myself. I would go to church. It was a Catholic church that was close by. It was a good church. And I never really connected. I never would really. I really tried hard. I would go for like a year, I would try hard, and I just felt like they were. And again, there's nothing with Catholicism or like this is just my journey.
Mhm.
And so I would go there, and I just felt like they were going through the motions, right? It would be like every time it would just be like, hey, we're gonna take what is it called? What
You're
they do?
gonna kneel or stand
They would like
or
we would kneel and pray, and then we would go and get
Eucharist.
the Eucharist, and they would sing, and it was just like on a script. It just felt like everything was scripted, and I'm like, man, it's got to be more than this. And one of my friends was like, oh, you got to come with me, and he's like, you got to come with me to my church in LA, like South Central. And then I was like, all right, let's go, let's do it. He's like, it's a Christian church. It was like it was dancing, it was and I was like, I love this. Like I was like, I love this. And it was definitely different. And what they did though, what really helped me was they would really connect it to everyday life
Yeah.
today and from back then, and how it still resonates and with today's world.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that. I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so I did that, and then I went that route for a while, and so I went a few times, and then it kind of paused. But I was like, I really loved it. Started kind of praying here and there, developing a relationship, and like kind of relying on him, because it's a relationship. It's not like a religion. I think it's a relationship. That's where it's really like I think people miss the disconnect, right? You don't have to do X, Y, Z. You don't have to like always be on your good behavior. Like no, like we're already sinners, right? And so do the best you can, and ask for forgiveness, and just do the right thing, basically. When I moved over to Orange County after I graduated, and I was like that was like my number one thing. I'm like, I need to find a church. I need to build this foundation. I need to like get myself, because you're a different person when you're in the Word. And I was like, you gotta come with me if we're gonna do this relationship thing. Like I really want you to connect with me.
Yeah.
And so she ended up doing it, which was I'm super grateful. And then we found a church, and her friend went there too, which was awesome. So that helped. And then it was just like
Yeah.
It's been about
14.
14 years
Yeah.
now, and it's great. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so that was in college that you guys met then at
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kansas? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was 14 years ago in
Yeah.
We
2020?
No, 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 that was 16 years ago. We met in 2010.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, we met in
I know.
2010.
We've been together a long time.
Long time.
We've had quite the relationship for sure. To the beginning part of our relationship, a lot of growing up was going on in our
I was a little boy doing little boy things, and then when I became a man, I put my little boy things away,
yeah.
and then
Yep.
that's when I really felt like our relationships took off.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so how I mean, you introduced Danielle to Bitcoin. How has Bitcoin, if at all, affected your relationship with God for each of you?
Oh, that's good. So how it worked really was like, Danielle's really trustworthy, and I was like, hey, like, I'm not gonna steer our family in the wrong direction. And I think she saw me doing the work, reading the books,
Yeah.
hopping on the podcast, doing the work. There was nothing that was like a red flag on it, right? And I was like, hey, this is the future, and we're actually participating in a world that we didn't even know existed,
Mhm.
and it's really bad, and it's just pulling us down. People are working hard for less, and it just seems like everything, how buying a house, everything is like it's just getting out of reach, right? And there's a reason to this, and this is actually connects back to Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right? It kind of explains all this. And then she was like, okay, and she trusts me. It was like in 2020, I kind of like got introduced to it where everybody was locked in. So like you, I just bought some little bit of it here and there, bought some of that other poop stuff. We won't even mention it. It's not even worth it. And then and then I started doing more and more research, just like I feel like every Bitcoiner does. And then you're just like, well, the conviction is coming, and you're just like, whoa, like this is a whole new world. Sold everything, converted. Actually, didn't even sell it, just converted it over, and then yeah, just been stacking since 2022. It's again, it was gradual, and then it was just like, oh, okay, cool, like
Yeah.
boom, let's go.
Yeah. And it helped because I knew he had done a lot of personal development prior to him even being introduced to Bitcoin. So at that point, I mean, like we said, we've been together a really long time, almost 16 years
Mm-hmm.
this year. And there was a lot of development. We've seen each other at our lowest of lows, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping we just keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
um, and so, yeah, when he started talking about Bitcoin, it was a foreign language. I didn't really totally understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, there was so much growth that happened before he even talked to me about Bitcoin, that there was so much trust already built,
Mm-hmm.
that allowed me to trust that he was going to lead our family well,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we had we had already had our first child, and we were navigating that too. So that was kind of where my brain
Mm-hmm.
was at that point. So it wasn't like I could really take in all this other information. I thought, okay, you're the leader of our family. That's just how I feel our roles are in our,
Mm-hmm.
faith walk, our journey. Um, you are the leader of the family. I trust you. You're going to lead our family forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like where my brain was at that point. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we've tried, we just had, there was a lot of development that happened prior to me being able to trust that, because I feel like, yeah, it's a big deal, especially these conversations in relationships. I'm sure as you're navigating conversations in relationships or with people, I'm not sure if you're in a relationship or not, but those are big things that you need to talk about, because it is significant. Money is not,
Yeah.
I don't, I feel, they always have that saying, what, the money's the root of all evil. And, I guess it depends what money we're talking about too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also if you aren't having those conversations, it can become an idol. It can become something that's just so much more than it needs to be. We are here to steward things well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And our blessings and things like that. So that's
Yeah.
just how we always kind of viewed it too. So
Everything costs money, right? Everything, like, money isn't everything, but everything costs money, right? We're not gonna be like, I'm not gonna just like put these blinders up and like it's not important. Like, no, like how you move forward in your life, whether you're buying a house, whether you're gonna take vacation, whether you're saving, whether you're trying to reach a goal, like you have to talk about money. And so, and the fact I was like, I made it a huge point, like before our marriage, we like had all of our finances, like we went into it debt free, paid the wedding debt, cash, like, and to each their own, right? Like, people will share the same roof. People will buy a house together. People will have a kid together, but they won't share their bank accounts, right? And so nothing against him, but it's like you need to have these conversations.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so, yeah.
Yeah, have you had to have those, like, difficult conversations, within your relationship? I mean, you don't even have to share that if you don't want to, but I know it's an important part of our faith too. It was just being open about those kinds of things and making sure that we are with someone like-minded and things like that. So I'd love to kind of hear your perspective too, because maybe there's someone listening that's trying to have, you
Who
know,
likes Thaddeus?
or is
Yeah.
dating and trying to figure this whole thing out.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
totally different perspective too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm not in a relationship, and I mean, on my channel, I talk a lot about celibacy and semen
Mm-hmm.
retention, etc., and how this is a sacred practice that men have. They don't really even know about it. Like, if I mention the even just that term to
Yeah.
people, like I'm very bold. I just don't care at this point. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're
So
either
good.
if you're not gonna if you're gonna be in my room, you're gonna be in tune with me, or you're not. So,
Yes.
like, play the music and play along, or go somewhere else. Like, that's the
Mhm.
just the way that I see life now. And no, I've tried to have conversations with people, and I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm not black pilled or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I've just seen too much to where it's hard for me to even want to consider a relationship anymore, because it's kind of like the way that I see it is like this, right? Most of the women that I've met, and again, I love women,
Yeah.
as a disclaimer, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
'cause we have to disclaim everything nowadays. But the way that I see it is like most of the time, women are trying to sell me something that I don't want to buy.
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want a white t-shirt. Well, she says, well, I have a long sleeve t-shirt with graphics on it. It's like, okay, but I don't want the white. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want the graphic t-shirt with long sleeve. I want the white t-shirt.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, but I have this. Okay, but I don't want that. I want the white t-shirt. And
Right.
Yeah.
it's like they just they don't seem to it just doesn't seem to register for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I'm really not sure why, other
Mm-hmm.
than just a lot of the propaganda, because it's not their fault. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that we live in a world where men prop up, and they what the way that I think about it is they pedestalize the eternal image of the feminine. And that's one of the reasons why, like with fiat is feminine energy, pure
Mm-hmm.
feminine energy.
Absolutely.
Bitcoin is masculine finance energy.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's contained. Like, it's there's a structure to it, right?
Yes.
And we as men, Anthony, we provide the structure. We
Yeah.
we allow the women that are in our lives to operate within the confines. Like, you can do whatever you want. You're free
Mm-hmm.
to do this, but
Mm-hmm.
there's boundaries here.
Yes.
And whenever I try to bring up those boundaries, the women seem to like not understand.
Yeah.
And a lot of the men that I've talked to, when I talk about their relationships and such, because I've worked with 375 people around the world at this point,
Wow.
Nice.
in one-on-one sessions and such, and about 30 of those have been women.
Okay.
And the men want families.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
They
men
do.
want families. It's the
Mhm.
women that don't want the families very much anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy to see the
Yeah.
Yeah.
social dynamics. And I mean, a lot of men just they don't see wives. Like, there's a bunch of girls, but there's no women ready to be wives. They
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
want like, I'm sure you guys have heard that women want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage.
Marriage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just the way that I see a lot of this happening. And just I'm to the point to where I'm not I'm not closed off to it. I keep an open heart, but I also know the playing field. I also
Yeah.
like when I can't be manipulated, uh, women get upset about that. They,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
they get upset that, like, I've had to tell women, look, I have compassion for you, but I don't think we're romantically compatible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll get stalked for weeks because of the thing. Like, they've just, like, the woman, she told me one time, there's this woman, she told me, she said, I've never had a man tell me no before. And I thought to myself, I was like, can you imagine? Like, this woman was probably 23 at the time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine walking the earth for 2 decades, never being told no? Like, that just, it just doesn't register for me at all.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
and so she became obsessed with me, and I didn't like, I'm not like, this is not a flex by any stretch.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's just like that's what happened, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I couldn't believe I've had married women tell me like we can keep it a secret, and it's just like this is not okay, guys. This is
Not
No.
not,
okay.
so that's what I mean when I say I've seen just too much to like, oh yeah, we're all good. No, we're not all good. We're we
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're very not so good. And
Do you do you feel that like just to add on, like maybe get your perspective on that? I'm wondering, like, do you feel that women are acting like this because of like how society has kind of forced women, not forced, but we've had to go into the workforce, right? You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
we're going into the workforce. We're also having to help with the family finances. We're also having to help with all these
Mhm.
things, right? So I think sometimes women feel like they have to put this masculine energy up, right?
Mhm.
To be able to provide and help and do. And yes, those are all beautiful things to be able to support your family. I mean, there was a point in my life where I probably had that mindset where I was like, no, well, I'm also like helping 50-50 right now. Like, I feel like I have to bring in finances. I feel like I
Mhm.
have to do all these things. Now that we have kids, I'm like, peace out, workforce. No, thank you. Not
Yeah.
for me, you know? But, you know, when you're trying to, you feel like you're going to school for a purpose, right? Like I know I felt like I was so grateful that I was able to get, you know, I played basketball. I got a basketball scholarship. I got to, you know, become a teacher and all of these things. So I didn't want to let any, and it's probably because we're athletes, we have these high expectations of ourselves, but we wanted to make sure we used our degrees. We didn't want to let anyone down. And so that energy in a female does become super masculine because you're trying to keep up, you know, keep up with everyone. And I'm wondering, like, if you have any thoughts on that, because I just feel like that could be a reason why this you're meeting women like that, you know, and I don't, it's hard. It's just what we're in.
yeah, well, I mean, I've asked women, like, have you ever considered that school is a scam?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and you know, they'll like, some of them will look at me like I'm crazy, and others will be
Yeah.
like, you know what, I actually kind of have. And I was like, well, what did you find? No,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm just curious to know.
Curious.
Dude,
Yeah.
like, seek to understand.
Yeah.
That's, like,
Yeah,
my favorite thing with, like, the Bible
Mm.
and, like, with, like, self-growth is it's, like, seek to understand.
Yeah.
Why not go an extra layer of, you know, of, like, "Hey, you know, what'd you find?"
Yeah.
Right? With her, right? And then when it also comes to, like, you know, with with God, I'm like, "Alright," like, he would say something, right? I'll read a verse, and I'm like, "Man, I really need to seek to understand, like, what is he mean by this?"
Mm.
Right? And so I think seeking to seek to understand who you are as a person is really good,
Mm.
and you'll find out like you're not who you think you are, right? Or this image that, or you're portraying this image that not you. And so I just really think that so what she was talking about, I wanted to add was the did you have something to
No, I
say?
wanted him to finish his
Oh, sorry,
thought.
Thaddeus. Sorry,
Sorry, he got
Thaddeus.
excited.
Sorry,
I have to
Thaddeus.
like, hey, get back to what we were talking
Go
about.
ahead,
Sorry.
no, that's
Thaddeus.
fine. I like the free flow conversation, so I don't mind. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that, well, look, like, the dollar at this point is losing 10% of its value per year. That is 1 cent off of your dollar every 36 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every dollar that you have, every 36 days, you're losing 1 cent per dollar. So if you have $100, you know, you're losing 36 cents or whatever it is, whatever the math is on that.
Oh my goodness.
However many dollars you have,
Yeah.
uh, that's how many uh, dollars you're losing per 36 days.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It adds up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, I did the math and I was like, you know what? Even if I put all of my money into like the S&P 500 or something,
Mhm.
it wouldn't keep up. It
Yeah.
just wouldn't. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, how in the world are we supposed to get ahead? Like the system, this is what I think. You want to know what I really think, Danielle? Is
Yes.
that they coerce women to want to participate in the workforce to make it seem
Mhm.
like they're going to be attractive. Because
Yep.
what is the main weakness of mankind? Well, specifically for men, it's a sense of vanity, and for women, it's a vanity of beauty. So
Mhm.
with men, if you can manipulate their vanity through status, and with women, if you can manipulate their vanity through beauty, you can control them. And that's
Mm.
exactly how we're being marketed to
Mhm.
right now. So women are forced to be in the workplace,
Mhm.
and eventually it's just going to continue to erode until the system eats itself. The way that I call this is a collapsing timeline. So the way that I see sin is you are opting into a collapsing timeline. Repentance or atonement is a revolutionizing of that timeline and accepting it or forgiving gratitude, whatever you need to do to atone or to repent. It's kind of the closing of the timeline so that
Mhm.
you can get on to a new timeline that proceeds to timelessness.
Mm.
Mhm.
Women and men have both been marketed to in such a way where men feel useless and women feel valueless. Like women genuinely do not feel, in my experience, from what I've seen, and I've seen quite a bit, and I've talked to a lot of people around the world. From what I've seen, women feel absolutely useless unless they're sexually attractive, and men feel absolutely useless unless they can actually, you know, give at the cost of themselves. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's the definition of a toxic relationship with yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's
That's
no like depth to that at all. There's no like what God intended for marriage or relationship in general. It's all superficial. It's all those things. And God made beautiful things, right? There's nothing wrong with being, taking care of yourself and taking care of the one body he gave you and
Mhm.
looking presentable and beautiful in that way. But it's very interesting. Yeah, because it's you put these people in the workforce, you put women in the workforce, they're with each other for I don't know, 8 hours a day plus.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
they're in a marriage right at
Mhm.
home, and then they come and have this relationship at work, and then they're obviously together probably more than their own spouse.
Yep.
So then they're it's just a constant split and a
Yeah.
constant thing that you're seeing here too. So yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like it's like the term. Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
No,
No,
go ahead.
go ahead, Thaddeus.
It's like the term your work wife or your work husband.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
no,
Exactly.
that's gross.
100%. 100%. I always think too, Thaddeus was like, people don't know this, but they're living a long distance relationship under the same roof.
Mhm.
Both of
Yeah.
you guys go 8+ hours away,
Oh,
right?
yeah. That's a good way to say it.
You
Yeah.
go 8+ hours away to your jobs, right? And at your jobs, you're spending a lot of time kind of piggybacking on Danielle. You're spending a lot of time with these people. You're developing a relationship. You have to because you have to work together, right? And you have to be solution seekers. You have to solve problems and you have to like close deals. And you gotta someone has to do part A and the other one has to do part B, right?
Mhm.
For things to work out. So it's natural. It's really natural for you to develop these relationships and it's like causing divorces, right? Because then like you're with these people more. Then what do after you just were super productive? Now you're gonna go home and you're gonna like and now you're just like tired, right? They're getting your spouse or your significant other is getting your leftovers,
Yeah.
right? And it's so easy to just be like, oh, bloop, right? And like
Hmm.
to hit it Netflix or something. And so that's why I
Yeah.
think like going back to what you were sharing with back in like I think it was like I felt like it was happening in 2000 when I from what I remember is where like women were ending their into the workforce. Our dollar's getting devalued. They have slowly were like, hey honey, you gotta go to work, you gotta get a job, you gotta add value, right?
Mhm.
So we can keep up with this lifestyle. And then that's where the whole term boss lady, right? Or I could hold my own, Miss Independent, right? Beyonce, all of these things were like were just like it was actually like No, it's all weak-minded, it's all wishbone, no backbone, right? And so go ahead.
Well, think about that word right there, independent. You're in dependence. You're
Yeah.
not really, you're inside dependence, just not in the way that you think you are.
Yes.
Mm,
That's
Dude,
what it
deep
is.
end.
yeah.
Hey, deep end pool, diving in the deep end of the pool. I
Yeah.
love how it's like an extra layer.
It's so
That
good
is.
because it makes you think a lot. And I've grown as like in this role of mine too, for sure. Because I think it took a lot of relationship building with my faith, a lot of humbling myself to know that I don't what I might have thought about before about, what a woman's supposed to be.
Mhm.
Because even my mom worked too. She was in the workforce as well, but she had a little bit more flexibility, so she was home a little bit more too. But yeah, I I wish more people and women especially in their core,
Mm,
they do not want to work.
yeah.
Like
I don't think so.
in their core, of course, it is like, I want to be home.
Mm,
I want to be a mother. I want to be a great wife. I want my house to feel like a home. I want to create memories with our
mhm,
friends and family. If you have kids, you make memories with your kids.
mhm.
I really feel that in everyone's core, because if you ever look at a mom go back to work after having a week off, they're like, "Oh, I have to go back to work," because I see it all the time and they're like, "Oh, I love my job." I'm like, "You don't love your job. They can replace you in 4 seconds. Like
Yeah.
they can find a replacement, no problem."
Mhm,
I'm grateful for I work too, but I have more flexibility. I work from home and we actually choose to homeschool too. So we are really trying to build our
mhm,
family back, that
mhm.
family unit back.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard navigating that for sure. Would it be easier for my kids to be in a school because I'd have a little bit more help, and I wouldn't be navigating family. Can you help me today? Because I have meetings, that be easier? I mean, yes, like logistically it would be easier, but man, I think about all the moments I'd miss, all the things that I'd be, missing out on with them,
Mhm,
the little things that I get to learn with them, those types of things, you'll never get that back,
mm,
and so it's so important to us too. And so
mhm,
yeah, I just think your perspective is really interesting and how you're relating it to so many other things, especially with Bitcoin,
mhm.
is probably very enlightening for the Bitcoin community to hear kind of your perspective.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I aim to, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, I suppose you could say,
Yeah.
but I love Bitcoin because I see what it is.
Mm.
Yeah, I see what it actually is, because it's not a an invention. It's a discovery. Like it's like pi. Okay,
That
3.14, whatever.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is just the financial version of pi. And like, the golden ratio, th- again, Bitcoin is just the golden ratio of
ratio.
finances. Like,
Mhm.
and it's on its own timeline. So while it's volatile, people who are only capable of linear thought and linear timelines cannot understand Bitcoin.
Mhm,
They cannot. Once
mhm,
you see that time is non-linear, and so the way that I think about it is there's individual time, there's watch time, and then there's event time.
mhm,
Event time is non-linear,
mhm.
but your individual time and your watch time, that's going to be, for all intents and purposes, lived linear but understood retrospectively.
Mhm.
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
what that means is that we are interdimensional beings. What that means is that we can exist. Like, think about this. Have you ever prayed for your past self?
Ooh,
No,
no, no,
I haven't.
Make
no.
consider that. Consider praying for your past self, because think about that, right? Like, there's someone like you. It's
Mhm.
you. You don't even know that you're praying for your past self from the now to back then.
Mhm.
Yes,
You can literally change your future by praying for your past. Like
yes.
when
Is
Thaddeus,
why.
I want a question on this. I want to ask you a question. So I have done this probably a lot, like a lot on the daily, but I do pray for my sins of my past self
Mm,
because I didn't know, I was just going through life because again, I didn't really get introduced. But I don't know if this counts, but I would be like, "Hey, Lord, like please forgive me for my past sins before I like came, and started understanding and building that relationship to you because I did some very, very bad, silly, boyish things back then, right before I was like really committed and like, with the relationship with you. But I do pray for my old sins for him to forgive me before I had this relationship with you.
hmm. Do you guys believe in visions at all?
Yeah,
Visions? Yeah, I would say so.
some visions.
Okay, so sometimes when I'm having conversations, especially like in my one-on-one sessions and such, uh, I'll have like spiritual images of the person come to mind. They're not always like 100% accurate, but I just had a vision of you swung on like this swing set. I don't did like and you were like going to a pool. When you got into the pool, it was like it kind of collapsed on itself in a really beautiful way. Does that mean anything to you?
You know what that is? Pools, ladders. No, I jumped in a lot of pools though, but
Okay.
nothing like climbing in or like jumping in or letting go into a pool. No,
Hmm.
no.
It seems like you're jumping into the deep end, so to speak.
Mm.
But
Mm,
when you jump into the deep end, you realize that it's not really deep. That seems
mm,
like the kind of message it was.
nice. I'm not connecting any dots, but if it comes up later, I will definitely reach out to you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Cool.
because
I'd be curious.
things come after, right? And so it's not always like in the
I think I
moment.
could relate it for you.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Hmm.
We've been together a really long time. I've
Let's
heard a lot of
go.
things from him. I think you're a really big dreamer.
Oh, huge dreamer.
This guy is like
Daydream,
a like
daydreamer, daydreamer, night dreamer, big dreams, big,
but
a
he's
lot of.
always had really big dreams for like our family and big dreams for our future and
Mhm.
his future personally, like before we were married, like big dreams. He's like, I'm gonna have this like, amazing, cool life. I don't know. And we still feel that way. We do feel like God's gonna bless us. We just are being grateful in the season that we're in right now, right?
His timing.
His timing. So it could be in a sense, diving into a deep end of, these different little adventures that we're doing. And he's like, we're almost getting there. I don't know. I'm like trying to relate to what we've been navigating, and so it could be something like that. I'm kind of thinking I'm like
Nice.
deep end means big dreams to me. We're going for things that are out of our comfort zone. Doing a podcast alone is
Yes.
super intimidating.
Yes.
Getting in
Yeah.
front,
What?
like, getting in front of a camera is like, oh, like, I don't know if you really, like, do we really want to do that,
Uh,
So,
Oh, it's crazy. Like, especially with the things that I talk about. I mean, I don't hold back. And
yeah.
again, it's like you either get it or you don't. And I'm not trying to be, you know, holier than thou or anything like that because I really want to have a dialogue. I never
Mhm.
want to force anybody to believe anything. Again, I just want the truth.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't think people realize I don't care what the truth is. I just want the truth because I
Mhm.
Yeah.
want to live in reality. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's not the fabric of reality that I'm scared of. It's the reality of the fabric. That's
Mm.
what it is. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think that that makes sense. Well, what has that been like starting the podcast? Like, how has that evolved for you guys?
Dude, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's been
Yeah.
about like
Month and
actually
a half,
about a month and a half, like
almost
month
two
and yeah,
months.
almost 2 months actually. And it's been fun. It's been fun having meeting people.
Yeah.
For me, building relationships and meeting all walks of life is like I thrive off of that. Like I
Mhm.
love hearing people. That's why I wanted you on the podcast. I was like, man, I love the way that you talk in your videos. It's like straight up, like you said, we're in the same tune or we're not in the same tune,
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, man, I want Thaddeus on here because I really like the way that you integrate both of them, right? But then you still you have your godlike and you got your thing going on, right? With your I don't know if it's a business or
Yeah.
what you're doing, but and how you also connected with Bitcoin and how like Bitcoin, this is really good because like everyone that we meet is almost like a Bitcoin maxi, right? But you're not a Bitcoin maxi. You just figured it out and you're like, this is the truth and it's on its own. And you figured out what it truly is,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you're leaving it there and you're gonna like, keep continuing with it, right? But
Yeah.
it's not, again, it's not an idol, right? We don't want it to, nothing's like, we don't want this to be an idol, but,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think
um,
starting the podcast too was definitely it came from a place of we didn't again, we thought we talked about it a lot before we like finally decided to do it.
mhm,
I even prayed about it. We both prayed about it probably together and then we separately I just kept, figuring out like, do we really want to do this, Lord? Like,
yeah,
but I think where our hearts were in good places. It wasn't from a place of vanity or, wanting to be heard. And that it's the fact that we were having conversations already. And I wonder if there's another couple navigating these conversations too.
mhm,
And cool if they, I mean, maybe they're having really tough conversations. Maybe the other spouse is finding Bitcoin and it's been really beneficial and they're just not seeing each other eye to eye. And so
mhm,
maybe hearing some bits and pieces of our story could be helpful and
yeah,
knowing that we can unlearn and relearn something
yeah,
new. And so that's kind of where our hearts have been this whole time. So I feel like if we keep our hearts in check, I've always been like, okay,
mhm,
let's
mhm,
do a heart pulse, or
Mm.
what is this for? What are we doing this for? What are
yeah,
we like? What is our why of this whole podcast? So I feel like it's been an adventure. I mean, we've
yeah,
learned so much just like about starting a podcast, like from computers to cameras to, like all the little things that you don't, you're like, oh, let's
yeah,
start a podcast. And you're like, oh man, where do we even begin? So yeah, that's been an interesting part
Yeah.
of that. But yeah, go ahead. You had a
I want to
question.
ask Thaddeus a question. So,
Yeah.
Thaddeus, so knowing Bitcoin now, and I do believe there's someone out there for you that you find out. I just think you're just weaving through the garbage, right? You like that's just how I see it. Like, I think there is someone for everybody out there. Whether it's now or later. But I want to ask you, knowing Bitcoin, knowing what you know with Bitcoin, and let's just say you guys are on the same page with a lot of things, right? Things you're like, oh wow, like this is we're really connecting and moving forward, and I really like where this is going. With knowing what you know with Bitcoin now, is that something where they would have to be like on board with you on Bitcoin? Like how
Not
just because I
immediately.
know it deals with its money, right? And so and it's future in the future. Is this something where like, hey, like they have to kind of be on board with me when it comes to Bitcoin?
Well, not immediately. Like
Okay.
I don't see this is something one of the reasons why I talk about some of the things that I do because I don't like seeing myself as like a dating person,
Mhm.
but that is kind of a lot of what I talk about because I think a
Mhm.
lot of men need to hear a different kind of perspective. A lot of
Mhm.
men are taught to see women as products. And so it's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I want that one." Right? I want that one, but then they don't realize that like she's a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's gonna have her own stuff that she's gotta go through, and, like, it's our job as men to steward that, and
Yeah.
I can handle a few like, I can handle the womanly stuff. It's no big
Mhm.
deal. What gets
Mhm.
to be a problem is when she she doesn't know how to pick up the pace and adapt. If she
Mhm.
wants to stay stuck in her thought algorithms, as I call them, she doesn't want to update because look, in life, you can either update or uninstall, right? Like
Yes.
it's just that simple. And you can either update your brain software or you're not. And if you don't want to update your brain software, it's yeah, like there's a common saying in the dating world where it's like women care about a man's future and men care about a woman's past. Well, it's like, well, why is that? Well,
Mhm.
because for men, their future timeline is going to be largely determined by the past timeline of the woman. And
Mm.
likewise, the woman's future timeline is going to be dependent on the man's future timeline. So
Mm.
you have to think
Nice.
about why that is. And
Mhm.
there's a correlation, and correlation doesn't always equal causation, but there is a correlation there. And so I've helped a few people establish really solid biblical based types, God based relationships.
Mhm.
And the main struggle that they have that I've continually seen is they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to rock
Mm.
the boat. They don't want to say no. And again, it
Mhm.
goes back to like that woman that's like, that was the first time I've ever heard a man tell me no. Like it just still blows my mind to think about.
Yeah.
But uh but yeah, I'm like, you have to tell her no, man. You have to tell
Yeah,
her no. It's
have
not that
to.
you don't it's not that you don't like her. It's not that you don't want her to do things. It's just you have to be able to say no. And if you can't say no to her, what makes you think that you can say no to yourself? Because that's
Yes.
ultimately what she's testing for. And
Mhm.
like, for example, even in my one-on-one sessions, because I do one-on-one sessions like spiritual consultations, right? If
Mhm.
there's a woman that I'm doing a spiritual consultation with, and I find out that she's in a relationship or she's married, I don't talk to her unless her husband or boyfriend is present.
That's
Mm,
so good.
that's so good.
So
And
good.
I think that that's an antidote for like professional boundaries,
Yep.
for a lot of different boundaries, because I don't want to have like I'm not your man, woman. Like
Yeah.
I'm not your
Yeah.
man. Uh,
Yeah.
it ain't me. It's
Yep.
him. I can help steward the energy, but it's not going to be me that's going to be involved hyperbolically in this. Um,
Yeah.
so the way that I see it is that she's going to just need to be open to it. I don't need her. Like I've never met a woman that is everything I need her to be.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
it's not like I don't hate women for that. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
And it's it's probably the case that most women have never met a man that is everything she needs him to be.
Hmm.
Mhm.
We have to
Absolutely.
grow into it. So that's
Yep.
why I say I don't see them as products. I see them as people that can this person grow or not? And
Hmm.
if they can grow, can they grow fast enough to keep up with me or
Hmm.
not?
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really
I
good.
really like that perspective too. The reason why that woman appreciated you saying no is because men say no, right? And so like when you're not with like a man who is, it's a turn off, right? Like
Mhm.
we think that we want someone that's always listening and submissive to our thoughts and thinks that we're like the greatest person on earth and all these things. And yes, we want those things, and a man should once they're in a relationship, like, their wife is part of them now, but um yeah, I have had so many hard conversations with Anthony that he's told me like, no, that was wrong, like that wasn't probably the right way to say that, or, those types of things. And in that moment, I'm mad because he's, telling me that I probably did something wrong and I have to look in the mirror. But I appreciate it so much, like, afterwards that, like, he's been able to help me grow in that way, and, he's in no way a controlling person at all. I mean, you know
You're wrong, I'm right, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Right. He's like, "That was wrong."
No.
But once you're able to have those conversations, and then vice versa, like, if there's something that I noticed that was, like, maybe out of character or things like that, like, we should be able to check each other
Call each
and,
other out, yeah.
like, be able to
Mhm.
have those conversations and say, "Hey, like,
Mhm.
you do a lot of things really well, but that was not cool,"
Yeah.
like, that was, like, out of character,
Yeah.
and so I think that's where your heart is too. It's not necessarily saying like certain things need to happen in certain time frame and all these things. Women have to be this way, but it's a growth area, right? It's an area of growth for both the man and woman because we're in this world. Like we've been told to be certain ways for so many years.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just need her to be receptive and open
Mhm.
to change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if she can do that, then I can make her into who I need her to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other Otherwise, like, yeah, I'm not gonna be, and I'm not saying make as in I'm gonna make her. Okay,
Yeah, that's what I was like, "Where are you going with
yeah.
that?"
I
Yeah.
mean make as in like I'm gonna create. I'm
Yeah,
Because
I
like
got
you don't find a relationship. You create it.
Yeah.
And
So
then
good.
you exist in the relationship.
Mhm.
Like, okay, the way that you, Anthony, and Danielle, like you guys were describing the way that your relationship blossomed through time. Well, what had to happen and what actually happened when Anthony, it sounded like, if I do a fair summary, he took more of a financial and spiritual leadership role. Well, then things started to blossom more quickly. Things
Yep.
started to
Yeah.
speed up. It's because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, now you're aligned with who God made you to actually be. It's
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
like in the Bible, in the Corinthians, it says, uh, the hierarchy is Father, Jesus Christ, man, woman, child. That
Mhm.
is not like, that's a spiritual reality. That's
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
like, uh,
You can't
yeah,
mix them
it's
up.
Yeah.
not a patriarchal thing. That's just a spiritual reality
Yeah.
that if we as men are incapable of leading, uh, guess what happens? Look around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
it. And I,
Chaos.
yeah, and I tell men a lot of the times, I say, look, it's your fault.
Mhm.
You
That's
can,
good.
you
And
can,
people.
you can lead a woman or you can leave her. And that's
Mhm.
what I
Mm.
learned from that situation, when I started to follow Christ and I, like, fell to my knees. I was like, "Oh, I can only lead her or leave her." Like, I
Mhm.
can't force a woman to do anything. I can't force
Yeah.
anyone to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I can guide them in the right direction. I can say, "Look, here's the door," in a good way, or I can say, "Here's the door," in a bad way, like, or in a bad way. But yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it's a very tumultuous terrain when it comes to dating right now. I don't think a lot of people realize ho it's rough. It's hard
Yeah.
to watch. It's hard to
Mhm.
watch,
Mhm.
because I've seen a lot of men just lose hope, and they
Mhm.
want a family so bad, and yet they're
Mhm.
just like, "What's there to fight for?" You
Yeah.
know? So, what's
That's
there to
so
fight for?
hard. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
would be super hard to see because you're like, marriage is so beautiful, and like relationships are so beautiful, right? Like it is, it's not, and it's not always a beautiful moment in the day. Obviously there's going to be conversations. We've navigated highs and lows for sure. Um, but it's a beautiful thing because you come back to that person every time those
Mhm.
hard things happen, and it is, I think there's there's a entitlement problem, there's an accountability problem with like in general with like the whole society. And me being in education, I've seen it a lot with like the younger generation too, just with kids thinking that they don't have to do certain things because there's no accountability held at home, so why would I do it here with you, or vice
Yep.
versa. So it's that's why I am so on it with my kids. I'm always just like, nope, you didn't bring your lunch. I didn't. I packed your lunch. I told you we were leaving. What are the things that we need? I mean, we do this all the time, right? So it's like, no, you were responsible. I'm not a mean mom. I'm not going to
Yeah.
not feed my kids, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
She
There's
fumbled.
she fumbled.
Yeah,
Like
hold them
you messed up.
accountable, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have those conversations and I'm able to because we are homeschooling, right? And
Mhm.
so some parents come home, same thing with their spouse, they're giving their leftovers to their spouse and their kids. They're exhausted.
Mhm. Mhm.
Both parents have just worked a full day and then they're going to come back to kids who have also worked a full day at school, right? If that's the route people choose.
Yeah.
And everyone's just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
It's just
is.
hard. It's hard to be in this world, like, in this society and dating and all that too. But
Yeah.
yeah. Did you go to school to be a therapist or like a counselor of some sort, or did like because of your faith journey did that change?
I just went through a lot of pain. I've seen
Okay.
things that would turn people's blood cold, and that's how I got here. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I've also come to the conclusion that, like, credentials are BS. I
Mhm.
just show me the results.
Yeah.
What are the results? Because
Yeah.
I mean, with the college and education and such, it's,
It's bad.
yeah, I mean, you guys went to
It's
college, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure what exactly it was like back, like, even just a few years ago, like, because I graduated in 2019, but I know even since then, it's gotten way worse in just
yeah.
Mhm.
6 years, 7 years.
I
Yeah.
know.
So,
Yeah.
I
I
can't
know.
I like, the it's just compounding in its terribleness.
PR ruins everything, Thaddeus. PR
Exactly.
ruins
It really
everything.
does, man. It
It
really
ruins
does.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Thaddeus, I wanted to say, thanks again. This has been a pleasure having you
Yeah.
on. Like, thank you so much for hopping on here, carving out the time. We really do appreciate it because we all, we're all navigating life, right? Life is hard.
Yep.
If you don't mind sharing, like, where our listeners or any, can find you on YouTube, X, like,
Yeah.
if you could just share your handles and stuff like that.
Yeah, at Regal Change for YouTube, and then at Regal Changes for X.
Okay.
That's gonna be it. So other than that, yeah, I really appreciated the time and I appreciate the invitation and I hope you all stay blessed.
Yeah, and maybe again too, hopefully we can do this in the future again. Maybe down the road at the end of the year or something, and see where Bitcoin price is at then, and just catch up. And you might have someone in that screen right there, right next to you.
Never know.
You never
Maybe.
know. All right,
We
Thaddeus.
appreciate you, Thaddeus. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, thank you so much for listening today. We appreciate you. And yeah, can't wait for the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Thaddeus.
See ya.